All right. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself, Sam?
I am doing fantastic. So, you and I have been chatting off camera in regards to your background, your experience, as well as this position that you're interested in being considered for. So, I want my client to get a feel for a day in the life of your last position working as a project coordinator.
Okay. I could start out with the beginning of each project. We would have sales reps throughout the country looking around for industries that would need a packaging machine to cover up their products. Say it'd be a loaf of bread, a strip of candy, sandwiches, and if they were able to, operate on a machine of my design, they would request a quote. I would then write out that quote. I would set it to usually these machines range from about 90 to $120,000 machines, and we would design and organize the machine layout to work along the customer's needs and requirements and how they would want those packages formed. We would send those quotes outwards, and depending on if they got approved or not, we would then at that point have 8 to 10 weeks to start the project, have the body of the machine shipped over from Italy, have the parts and modifications either built locally or shipped over to us from Italy as well. After that, we would then organize within the next week or two for the building of it and then testing of it. Testing would take about a week afterwards, and we would follow through with either an in-person factory acceptance test where the customer will come over and view the machine in person, see how we tested and performed on it. Every single machine takes a little bit of tweaking, modification, so it's best that we have them see it in person so then we can make those modifications before we create and ship them out. Once we got, sorry.
Sorry, keep going. I'm sorry.
Once we had the approval on the machines, we would then, I would then set up the crating and shipment, send them out to the sites, and 40% chance I would go and fly out with the tech and oversee the installation of the machines.
Now, Rick, what I really enjoy about what you did in this last role is the fact that you were in charge of all steps of the process at different stages and multiple projects at once. Can you give me an idea of just on average how many projects from whether quote stage to installation stage that might be on your desk open at any given time?
Sure. The most I've seen at one time was about 7 to 8 machines live.
Great. Fantastic. And what was the typical from start to finish time frame for one of these projects? Was it 3 months, 6 months, a year? What did that look like?
Typically our goal would be to 8 to 10 weeks. Now, granted, it was a little bit of a rocky start because it was a brand new machine to the company.
Yep.
Sometimes there would be a week or two pushback because of that supply chain. We had a lot of issues in the beginning with the securing motor chip drives for the machines.
Understood.
And then I would essentially have to reach out to the customer at that time, notify them, give them an idea when they would expect the machine once I got these updates.
Fantastic. Now, Rick, when you obviously probably for this particular position that you were in, you had to use multiple software programs for different stages. You also mentioned to me off camera that you had exposure to blueprints and different schematics. Can you tell me a little bit about the different software programs that you were using on a regular basis and maybe what you feel most proficient in?
Now I dabbled a little bit on the CAD 3D printouts, but I can't say that I necessarily have full-on experience with it to be able to fully make a individual part that I needed for a machine. But I kind of can look around on it and figure it out on my own time. I've also worked on another project that would print out the diagrams for customers on how they would put the plastic film reels.
Great.
You'd have to basically wire it around like a bunch of other rollers in order to, especially if you had wanted to add a printer to it or you wanted to have a specific film design. You would have to set up how you would roll it out. I would print out the stickers, schematics for it, and then, print that on the side of a stainless steel board. So then technicians, once they were newly viewing it, they would understand and kind of map it out as printed out.
Very cool. Rick, when you're thinking about the next company that you're going to work for, what do you think is the most important thing at this stage in your career for you?
Getting to know more about, essentially construction. There is a lot of demand for that out there. I also, just started stepping into the industrial field. More or less, it's getting to know more about the fields that they didn't necessarily teach in college.
There you go. I love that. That's actually a really great answer. No one has said that to me in one of these digital interviews, so I really appreciate that. Well, Rick, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording because, again, this is just supposed to kind of be a Cliff Notes version, digital cover letter, so my clients can get eyes on you and then, of course, set up a time to meet with you and talk more thoroughly. I'm going to stop the recording and chat with you a little bit more if that sounds good to you.
Sure. Sounds good.